But at some point you made the decision to go from traditional to entrepreneur. Can you kind of take us back to that moment of what was going on in life that you said, there's got to be some sort of change here?
For me, my background's in mortgage banking, and I've been doing it in the profession for 15 years. Absolutely loved it. I looked forward to going to work every day. I felt like I was helping others. I was fulfilled, and we had children. And as each child kept coming, the guilt of being a parent and having less time with our children than they deserve and that we deserve was starting to weigh on me. And then I lost the fulfillment piece of my job with the mortgage crisis and the real estate crisis and everything that happened for me. It just became work and it became a job. And then you go, there's got to be something better than this for it to be no fulfillment, less time with my children. And then I'll let Chuck share his story, but he's got a very busy profession. And we knew there had to be something else out there. So we started a search for what we could own and control and how we could start our own business, and it would be ours. And we would have that control of our own destiny, and have our, what at the time, plan B.
So what made us make our decision, or help me make my decision, was I really love going to work. I really love my job. But the security of my job isn't necessarily something that I worried about. And in that sense, I really do a lot of things for love, for helping other people. And as the security of my job began to erode, one of the things that we started looking at was, why am I doing this? Why am I spending my time, working for others, doing other people's dreams, really? Yeah. And, Amber gets emotional, I get emotional about our kids. And the security for our kids is everything, but as much it is for love and spending that time. And so when you're working for other people, they're spending time with their kids. That's what it comes down to. Yeah. And so we need to work for ourselves. We need to have that ability to spend time with our kids and find the time to work for ourselves when we want to, when we can, when it's not affecting or taking away from our kids. So everything we have is centered around love for our kids and making decisions that are based on us, not someone else.
If you didn't do this, what would your life be like next year or in 2 years? So you're getting ready to go into your 40s. There was no entrepreneurial journey on the horizon. So what's your 40s going to be like?
Oh my gosh! I mean,
so scary.
Honestly, I just all I can see in that, picturing that, is sadness and just not even seeing our kids grow up to be the kids they could be. Like we're not fulfilling our potential. We're not giving back to others. We wouldn't have a way out. I don't know. Just even visualizing that is really hard.
Yeah, we have a great life. The way ahead for us, we're doers. We'll nug it out. We'll figure out a way to make it work, and that's what will happen. We'll make it work. But making it work and living our dream, that's what we're going to miss out on. And so we have to rewrite our story. We have to come forward and say, hey, are we happy today with where we're going to be tomorrow, or do we need to make a change? And so looking ahead, and the question really is, do you really want to be in the same place 4 years from now? We're not those people. No. We're comfortable, but we don't want to be comfortable where we're at now. We want to be, experiencing things that, with our kids, right? We want to be experiencing things in the future that, other people dream of. They can make it. They can make that happen, and we realize that. That's our attitude. We can make this happen. Absolutely. So 4 years, 4 years from now, we're going to be in a different place because we choose to be there, not as a reaction to someone else's decisions or an environment. We are going to put ourselves in a place that we get to decide 4 years from now where we're going to be.
Let's say 10 years from now, your kids are in their late teens, mid-teens, and we get together and have a party, and we give your oldest daughter a chance to speak. And we say, take us back 10 years ago. What happened that's made it the next 10 years? Like, what do you want her to say? Mom and Dad did something happened. Mom and Dad made a decision, and then things changed, and this is how it was. What do you want her to say?
So I look back at that and I say, okay, 10 years ago, if it was her talking, 10 years ago, I'm very proud of my dad. He served our country. I'm very proud of our family that we, in tough times, in the country's tough times, that we supported others and we supported the country. She'll remember me not being there. Right? And that's what'll hurt.
But now,
but
because
then
we
there's
have
gonna be
this, yeah.
there'll be a change. So what will the
Yeah.
next 10 years be like for her?
And she'll say,
but then,
But then, mom and dad made a decision to not live that, to spend time with us, to allow us to have things in abundance,
That's right.
to travel the world. And because of the decision that mom and dad made, I now have seen the world. I spend as much time with them. I'm close with them. They know who I am. They've helped me become a better person.
Right.
That's what she's going to say.
Options.
Yeah, she's going to say that.
She'll think that we had educated. She'll be thankful for the education. The education and being able to make choices. That's what she's going to be thankful
And the time
for.
with us.
Mm-hmm.
And that we know her and that she knows us on an intimate level that we deserve.
what do you say to the couple who's exactly like you 5 years ago? They're just going, something's not right. I'm educated. We have the American dream, jobs and house and cars and mortgage. Like, we played the game the way it's supposed to be played, but they wake up and go, there's still something wrong here. This is not what we thought. Like, and they're watching this and they're going, what do you tell that person? And maybe it's the guy, or maybe it's the mom, or whoever's sitting there making the decision that really needs to elbow the other one and say, we've really got to take a strong look at this. What do you tell that person? So, because you're ahead of them,
Right.
you've bushwhacked in front of them, right? So say something to that person.
Well, there's a lot you can say to that person. We don't know the dynamics of where they're at, but I'll tell you two things that stick in my head when I think about talking to a person that's in the same shoes 5 years ago that we were in, and that is it's teamwork. You have to make a decision as a group, as a family, and you got to share your why with each other, because you build off each other's emotions and whys and why things are important, and you build that together. The other thing I would tell them is trust yourself. You've been successful your whole life. You've been successful in the things that you've seen and wanted to do and accomplish. And this is outside the norm, so it might be a little bit different, but trust yourself, and you will succeed. You just need to make that commitment, and having your partner make the commitment with you, there's nothing stronger than that. And so you'll be able to accomplish everything and more if you just push ahead and trust yourself. And we're going to be here to help.
Right.
We have a team to help.
Yeah. I think it's the best thing that's ever happened to us is becoming uncomfortable. Because we say, people, again, like you just mentioned, the American dream. We've had very successful careers, and we have a beautiful house, and we have all those great material things. But we don't have time. We don't have enough time with our children. We feel that pressure, and I know people feel that. So that person you just mentioned is, you need to get uncomfortable. Don't be content with your life. Look at your life now, and look at the last 5 years and say, okay, do I have something in my life that's going to give me what I need in a year or 2 years from now? And then make that decision to get uncomfortable. Take that leap of faith, like he said. Be willing to do that because you deserve it. I know your family deserves it. And it is absolutely possible. Anybody can do what we've done. But you have to get uncomfortable. You have to be willing to take that step, take that leap of faith, and just know that you are going to rewrite your story. You can be part of a movement. You can truly change lives of others while you're changing your own, and be unstoppable. Just make that decision. Just
Make
be
sure
unstoppable.
it's your dream.
Yeah.
Make sure it's your dream. That American dream, a lot of people talk about it.
It's not.
A lot of people talk about the American dream as they see it through someone else's eyes. And so visualize, write down goals, write down, what your dream truly is. What is it? And go out and get it. But make sure it's your dream.
Is there a way that your worldview has changed? Go back 10 years, right? Is it not that you were negative and now you're optimistic, but I can only assume, having been through this journey personally, the personal development side of it, the world has a different flavor. You see the opportunity in front of you. Can you talk a little bit about maybe those unexpected other things that have happened, changes? You know what I'm saying? Like, I would never have guessed 7 years ago that I would now see things like this, or I would pursue this, or this would be of importance to me, or this would be a value we want our kids to know. Is there any of those things that have kind of flavored the journey?
7, 8 years ago, you weren't realizing that time was really what you value the most. A lot of times you're working for maybe materialistic dreams because that's the American dream. That's what I'm going back to. Make sure it's your dream. And what is that? So 7, 8 years ago, I don't think time was on our factor as our number one, requirement that we needed, that we want. So I would say, yes, that's changed.
We didn't value our own time.
Right. We didn't value our own time, and we've grown to value that. That's an education that we've received through this. The personal side of the house, we've always been the people we are. And the profession that we are in has just significantly brought out more of who we are. And we've been able to grow on that and learn on that. But in a positive way, we look at things always as an opportunity. We find opportunities in everything. And that's what this business taught me. And I can take it to wherever I go. It isn't that we were negative before.
Right.
A lot of times we were reactive to our environment. And we can be so much more proactive to our environment. We can be ahead of things and help nurture things to go our way versus a reactive type. So I would say we've learned that so much.
On our personal development piece, just understanding yourself more, the awareness, and having that piece of it has allowed us to be better spouses, a better wife and an amazing husband, but better parents. So when you think of the journey, there's so many intangibles, all the friendships you create. But for me, it's that we look at things like he said. Every person you meet in your life, that exchange, we look at it as an opportunity to grow and a way to enhance your life. And you do look at things more positively, and I see things in abundance. I mean, we don't have a scarcity mindset, and that's refreshing. Yeah. So
But
when you
our
look
kids
at
have
our
that.
kids have that.
They're not starting where we started.
Yeah.
And that's what's exciting for us. Our kids are starting where we're just learning at 39 years old, to be this type of mindset. What's really exciting is we're teaching our kids to be this way now.
So we know they're going to leave a mark on the world because, we know what it's done for us and how we've grown, and how we're every day we're teaching them those lessons, and you can just see it in their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's exciting.
What's the internal dialogue you want your kids to have when they leave the house? What's that sentence when an opportunity comes along, they're met with a challenge, their peers are going down one path, and maybe they have the opportunity to take a perpendicular path or an opposite path? When you're not around and they're older, what do you want them telling themselves? What do you want them hearing dad saying or hearing mom saying in their head?
Well, we hope, and I hope that we've taught them to think, 2 or 3 steps ahead, as all parents do. But I look at it, and the question that you asked, I look at it in the light, most of the time it's going to be a character decision. And by being around and being in this business and being around positivity, but working on personal development, you're building your character. And so what we hope and what I hope specifically for our kids, when they get challenged with tough decisions, is that they know their character. They're not challenged with understanding who they are and will this make me somebody else that I want to be. They already know who their character is. And so that decision isn't, I think a lot of kids are challenged with a decision like that. That won't be a challenge for them. They know their character, and if the parallel road is what they need to take, it's really not a decision for them. It's who they are, and they know they can trust and see who they are. So it's much deeper than being able to make a decision for themselves. It's more about they know who they are well before that decision comes around.
Right. So I think it's just instilling those values and having them be aware of who they are. That they're God's gift, their creation, and they're put here to leave a mark, and to leave the house knowing that they are. I am God's gift. I am unstoppable. I am meant to change lives. So, those are the things that we want them to know and feel. And again, just from a character standpoint, that's exactly what our goal is, as our plan is to instill those in them.